Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show, and as I'm sure you've seen, there's a lot of debate lately about raising the minimum wage, because the fact is, you can't survive, you can't pay rent off of working minimum wage. Unless, of course, you're pulling in like 60 to 80-hour weeks, and even then it's going to be tough. But what about if you make $20 an hour? Well, this video goes into exactly that and the harsh realities that even people making $20 an hour are still homeless. So I want to talk about that as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much, and now let's begin.
These people are struggling to find a home while being surrounded by billionaires.
Pago 1,700 para este.
Jackson Hole is known as a playground for the rich. It's been home to former Vice President Dick Cheney and movie stars like Harrison Ford and Sandra Bullock. And it's also the county with the highest income inequality.
There are apparently 2,000 folks on the housing waiting list.
Yeah, see, here's what's going on. From what I could tell, just on the surface, it's not like they don't have the land to build. It's not like Los Angeles, where if you want to build in the middle of the city, you're tearing something else down to build it. This looks as though you could continue expanding. You can continue building. The issue is that it's not profitable to build houses that aren't mansions. There. I said it. That's the reason. It all comes down to money. When a developer looks at building properties in an area, they think, how much is land worth? How much am I going to get in return? And how long is this going to take me? When the numbers don't math, developers just say, it doesn't make sense for me to build here unless it's 20,000 square feet and unless Harrison Ford is paying for the house. So that's probably why you have really wealthy residents who don't want to live next to apartment buildings. So we'll continue though.
Patrick Morris has lived in Jackson Hole since 2013. He's currently experiencing homelessness. Like many workers in Jackson, Patrick's previous housing was tied to his employment. Companies have started providing housing for employees because they know rent is so expensive. But that quickly became a problem, because when Patrick wanted to quit, he became homeless too.
Yikes. I mean, I could see it going both ways. I could see for the employer, this is an amazing incentive to retain the best people you can, to give them housing. I've found that to be a lot more common. I know quite a few people who, for their employees, will just put them up. And, that's even what I did with Jack. When he first came on the team, I had some spare space. So for a while, he was living in the guest unit, and I was living in the house. And that worked really well. And for Jack, it was like, you don't have to pay rent in a really expensive area. That didn't make sense. And for me, it helped out having a buddy that you could almost like kind of share some space with. Even when we moved here in Vegas, Jack got the spare bedroom for a while because I'm like, this doesn't make sense to go and pay rent. Like, don't waste your money on that when you could just, have the spare bedroom. It's yours. Just, enjoy it. So I could see that. But yeah, if you lose your job, you also lose the housing. It's a difficult combo.
I was working 70 hours a week, not getting paid overtime. So I told them, I said, look, it's not working out. I'm getting overworked. And they said, well, you can't stay in the employee housing if you don't work the hours we tell you to work. And they basically made me homeless.
That seems like a little bit of exploitation though, right? That's why I feel like, you either just give housing and it's just, hey, this is an incentive. We want to keep you on. But to use housing as leverage to say, well, we're going to take away the housing unless you work 70 hours a week and have some of those hours unpaid, that to me seems like extortion. How is that legal?
The Good Samaritan is a working shelter, which means that everyone who stays here long term has to work full time. But that's not difficult. There's no shortage of jobs in Jackson Hole, and wages here start at $20 an hour. But in Jackson, the wealth inequality is so vast that $20 an hour is not a livable wage.
I would question why people would choose to live here versus moving anywhere else. It doesn't make sense at that income. It doesn't make sense. So I would like to think that the economics of this would eventually be where people would leave who don't want to make $20 an hour and have no money left over whatsoever, unless of course they have ties to the city. Enough people would leave that eventually they would raise that price. Or other careers might be paying more than $20 an hour. To me, this is a $35 to $40 an hour town if you want to live there.
There's no other way to say this. Jackson Hole, Wyoming is a tax shelter. The state collects no income tax or capital gains tax, there's no tax on corporations, and the current sales tax is 6%. The valley has attracted many investment bankers from New York and other states to relocate and enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, okay, that'll do it. I mean, there's a lot of no income tax states out there. Nevada's one of them. Florida, you got Texas. So there are places out there with no income tax. I hear Wyoming is very popular for LLCs, by the way. So if you have an LLC, a lot of people say Delaware and Wyoming are like the best for, I guess, corporate structures, taxation. A lot of benefits to setting up a corporation or a company in Wyoming. So again, I could see why that would attract so many people. So, okay, at least that explains it.
Es muy difícil porque tenemos que ahorrar por lo menos $7,000 para agarrar un lugar donde vivir, porque tenemos que dar el depósito el primer mes, el último mes. Entonces es algo muy alto en costo para la vivienda.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. This is one of those reasons why it's more expensive to be poor, because she's stuck paying a lot higher prices for receiving less because she can't afford that deposit, the last month's rent, the first month's rent. It's expensive. So in order to get by, you're forced just to pay the bare minimums, but pay more of them. And that is a huge problem. To me, it seems as though there's got to be ways to make more than $20 an hour. Again, I don't know, but it's just, frankly, it's not enough in this situation.
Her biggest worry is time. Her lease is until April, but she doesn't know if she'll be able to renew it.
Algunas veces él ha despertado por las noches preocupado y asustado, diciendo, mamá, cuando nos digan que nos tenemos que ir de esta casa, ¿a dónde vamos a ir?
Part of me wonders how he knows so much about the housing situation. To me, it doesn't seem like he's old enough to comprehend the situation fully. I would almost just let him be a kid. I hate to say it, and again, I'm not a parent, so I could be totally wrong about this, but I would try to save or spare my child from knowing the severity of it, hey, we could be on the streets. I would rather just, hey, I'll deal with it internally, I'll figure it out. I would rather my child have a childhood. Ignorance is bliss. I could see if he's 13, 14, 15, old enough to know what's going on, but he seems like he has the gift of just ignorance at this point and just being a kid and just enjoying what that's like.
Jackson has a worker shortage. Businesses are struggling to find workers because they can't afford to live here. But even proposals for small affordable housing projects have had a lot of opposition.
I'm adamantly opposed to giving up 1 square foot of that rodeo grounds.
Okay, so then the solution is to pay more so that you have workers to work in the city. I don't get how that is such a crazy concept. You pay more to retain the people that are there. And if they leave, you don't have people to do the things that you need to have the entire city functioning properly. So if they have so much money, they should be able to afford to pay more for services to make up for the space that they don't want to have developed. Seems easy.
Nikki Kaufman moved to Jackson Hole 6 years ago.
I came to be a ski bum, and I worked at a ski shop and I worked at a taco shop.
Nikki is now organizing with the local nonprofit Shelter JH and asking residents to vote for candidates who are for more affordable housing.
Hi Katie, this is Nikki. I am calling on behalf of Shelter JH tonight.
That's gotta be a tough job. I get some of those calls every now and then. It's usually for random political people and from everywhere. They're just coming out and they get my phone number somehow. And they just start calling and they leave those weird voice messages where you could tell it's pre-recorded. It's a tough job. I can't imagine doing that.
Jackson Hole is a playground for the wealthy. There is absolutely no denying it. People want to go out to their favorite fancy restaurant and then they get upset when their food takes 2.5 hours. I'm going to go back to my multi-million-dollar home with my housekeeper and my lawnmower and my yoga teacher in-house, and everything is hunky-dory.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems to me like these are really second or third residences. They're not living here full time. They're probably living in New York City, maybe Florida, maybe Silicon Valley. They bought a property here. They take their staff with them. This for them is like a summer vacation, then they leave. I'm guessing. It sounds like what it is. So again, the solution seems to be to pay people more for better services that are lacking.
The next morning, I met up with Jessica Sell Chambers, who sits in the Jackson Town Council.
Your rent's increasing by 100%, and you can expect it to increase another 100% by the end of the year. So it's like your rent goes from $2,000 to $6,000. You can't go anywhere.
To be fair, the housing shortage is everywhere, though. There's very few places in the United States where there's not a housing shortage. So it sounds like it's to an extreme here to a very extreme degree, but everywhere there is a housing shortage. Is that ever going to get resolved? I don't know, because they have to build right now 3.5 to 5.5 million homes just to meet demand, just to meet it. We're so short. So, the only things that could happen, population decline, and eventually that just balances out on its own, or prices just keep going higher. Or they have to really incentivize building, but building is expensive. You can't build affordable units being profitable. So the money's going to have to come from somewhere, and that's the issue.
She and her family are using the extra space they have in their basement to house residents.
A woman with her 2 sons, and they had nowhere to go. So we kind of shared a home. Yeah, they were here for 9 months, 10 months, and then they were able to find another place.
Yeah, it seems like they need a lot of transitional housing for people who are just between places as well, where if their lease expires and there's nothing on the market for them to rent, they need something month to month for like 6 months to at least get themselves situated to be able to find another place. It's tough. They need housing or they need to pay more. That's the only 2 solutions. And I think the more reasonable solution is to pay more, because it doesn't sound like they're really going to be building more housing or as much as they need.
Back at the shelter, we met up with Blaise McDonald. Blaise grew up in Jackson. He had hopes of being a professional skier, but now works blue-collar jobs. Now Blaise is without a car. He says that most people don't realize he can't just get up and leave and move to a cheaper area.
It takes money to leave, it takes money to go places.
But even if he wanted to leave, Blaise says his family would still be in Jackson.
My mom and 2 sisters live here. They're homeless too.
It's too bad they can't all pool their resources together, and between like the 3 or 4 of them, save up enough to get themselves in a car with enough gas, with enough food, to make it to another state where their work would go a lot further. Because right now, it's not working. I'm thinking if this cycle just continues, they're going to be stuck in the same spot. How can we change that? It seems as though they should be able to find a way to pool their resources together. And maybe that's wishful thinking. Because it's different for me to say this behind a computer screen and just suggest all these things without fully seeing the picture and like exactly what goes into this and how much is really left over. And maybe there's nothing left over between all of them. What can they do? So again, it's easy for me to spew off potential solutions here without really understanding the full situation. So take that with a grain of salt.
This land is supposed to be preserved for all Americans to enjoy. But what does it mean for the US when only the wealthy have access to nature?
Yeah, I had no idea how expensive this area was, by the way. When you look at homes for sale, they're routinely like $3 to $10 million for what looks like a ski resort style home. I mean, the beautiful homes, beautiful area. I love the scenic nature. But my gosh, $7.5 million for 4,200 square feet is absurd. I mean, again, that's what they're selling for, that's what the market is, but my gosh, that is more expensive than most places in Los Angeles, a lot of places in New York City. Wow. I was wrong about this place going into it. So with that said, let me know what you think down below in the comments section. And if you guys are interested, I've got an affiliate link down below in the description where you could get some free stocks that are worth all the way up to a few $1,000s, depending on the offer that's currently applied with the link down below in the description. So enjoy. I will get a commission, by the way, if you sign up for that, but you also get some free stocks. So let me know what stocks you get. Thank you so much, and until next time.